Hello everyone, I'm Hoosh, and this is my E92 335i, and I'm going to tell you exactly why this is the best non-M car in the world.
Best car in the world, I will say. Oh, your favourite car in the world? Yeah. I mean, how can we have the world's biggest petrol head?
Oh yeah. Now I'm going to start simply with practicality. Now you probably will think, N54 practical? Well, it is. Even though the E92 335i is a coupe, it is practical because, as you may know, the back seats drop, giving you a lot more room in the back. So if you need to buy something from like a lamp you'll use for about 2 months from IKEA, you can fit that there. Your golf clubs and other things of varying necessity. The back seats are also quite roomy. Similar to the E90, you have a lot of leg room for a car of this size. So it's quite practical in that respect. There's also a compartment in the back where you would previously have a spare tire. Thanks to the run-flat tires, you now have that compartment and you can store things there as well. Though I do prefer regular tires to run-flats. The next thing is the tunability. This is a very tunable car. There are lots of companies that make aftermarket parts for this car, of varying quality and price. There's also lots of companies that provide remapping, tuning services. So it's a very tunable car. So for somebody who wants to modify, this is a very good car. The next thing is the handling. I have the base model, not the sport model, but even though it is the base model, and I don't have any big upgrade on the suspension, it is a very well handling car. You're not going to break your back riding around town. You're going to have a comfortable ride, but you're going to feel the road. You're not going to be detached, just floating around. So this car is very well handling. You feel the road, and in the corners it does very well. It has very subtle curves. I didn't address design and performance, and I'm going to start with design. The reason I think this is one of the best looking BMWs is because it's in a sort of twilight zone of design. It's not exactly modern looking, but it's not classic looking by any means. And I think the reason for that is because it's sort of like, and it's obvious because those are BMWs, but it's sort of like the E46 and the E30 combined, and then given these subtle curves, which changes the car totally. It doesn't look like those cars. What we're used to now is, jagged, sharp edges, really aggressive. But this was totally smooth all around the headlights, the trunk, the hood. Totally changed, lots of the fundamentals that BMW followed up until it designed this car. And, kind of similar to what you saw in the E60. A lot of people didn't like the E60 coming from, the previous boxier, more aggressive design. They weren't really a fan coming from the E39 to E60. But this car, with the subtle curves it added, I think it put it in a twilight zone of design, which really makes it stand out and makes it a really unique car. It's now time to address the elephant under the hood, the N54. This is really the highlight of this car. It's going to go down, the N54 is going to go down as one of the most iconic non-M engines ever made. And of course there are lots of great non-M engines that BMW has produced, don't get me wrong, but this is unique in its own right. And it does have its downsides and problems, but I'm not going to get into that. I'm just going to talk on the highlights of it. This was the first mass-produced BMW turbocharged engine. So since it was the first mass-produced turbocharged engine, BMW overdid themselves. They built it very strong. They used forged parts. They overbuilt the engine because they didn't want to have, people blowing up their cars. And saying, I'm never going to buy a turbocharged BMW or BMW ever again. So they overbuilt it, and that really opened up the scene for people to, get twin turbo upgrades or single turbo upgrades and push this car to its limits. 800, 900 horsepower, 700 horsepower, and you can practically do, easily you can do 400, 500 if you want a nice daily driver. And also being available in the 6-speed manual, which I have in this car, it's very useful to have the manual, especially if you want to upgrade. It's stronger and more reliable than the automatic. So there's lots of things going for this car performance-wise, and if you really look into the details, it's a great car to buy if you want to modify, and the engine, the N54, provides you with lots of potential. Well guys, that was my explanation on why I think that this car is the best non-M car in the world. And if you enjoyed the video, this was my first major YouTube video, so I'm just starting out. This is probably not going to be the best one, but good enough for now. And if you enjoyed, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.